Hey Hearties, I'm Kaycee.
And I'm Kami. Welcome to the Hearties Hotline,
your connection to Hope Valley.
We want to give a shout out to our friends at Edify Films, where you can get fabulous When Calls the Heart merchandise, like my hat.
And you can also get a fun When Calls the Heart game from our friends at the Bundle Game. Be sure to use discount code Hearties Hotline for 10% off.
We've got a fabulous episode for you today, full of laughter, tears, and heart.
So take a walk with us to Hope Valley and let's dive in. Welcome back, Hearties, to the Hearties Hotline. I know you've missed us and we've missed you guys too. And today is a very, very, very special day because not only do we have our very first return guest star, we're also talking to the bride herself, the newest bride of Hope Valley, Loretta Walsh, aka Florence Blakely Yost. Hi, Loretta.
Hi, hello. Thank you so much for having me. It's so good to see you.
Yeah,
good to see you too.
How fun. And thank you for returning to our show. We were so excited.
I talked to you before. I felt like I couldn't really share too much with you. I was like, I got to talk to you later because there's just too many secrets to keep. You know? So now we can say it all.
Yes. Yes. What's kind of funny is we had a kind of an inkling that there were some little things that would be happening. So we're very excited to have you back on.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, it was kind of funny to us that a lot of people were gunning to get interviews with stars before the season was really unfolding, and we said we want to wait until the end when we can talk about everything.
Yes,
like, okay, yes, if you're watching this and you haven't watched all of season 8, you need to get off your computer right now because there are spoilers coming your way.
Yes.
Like it's been over a month, right? So I think most people
yes. We're out of the zone, you know. It's already been spoiled on ET and all the online stuff.
Yeah.
But wow, what a journey for Florence, your character. I mean, I could literally start crying right now.
I truly feel that the wedding was the best episode of the season. It encompassed so many facets of Hope Valley. And then, I mean, who can say no to a Hope Valley wedding?
Everybody loves a Hope Valley wedding, and you just know whenever there's a Hope Valley wedding, everybody's going to get involved. The whole community is going to get involved to overcome problems to make sure that bride and groom have a beautiful day. Yeah, it was fun. I mean, I had a ball this episode. It was so much fun and so rewarding to get to cover so much ground for Florence, because I think that episode is actually a very it's a big ending to a big arc for her, which is, you know, the part of her healing process after losing her husband has been going through her grief and refinding purpose in the world and with her community. And you know, the cherry on top of the whipped cream, on top of the ice cream, on top of the icing, on top of the cake is to find love again, you know, romantic love. And so, what do you want to know?
So much.
Yeah, I guess to start off, did you have any inklings prior to even filming season 8 that Florence and Ned were going to be an item? Did you have it? Like, we saw them do the dance and we know they've been friends for a very long time. They have
known each other forever.
Yes. And it really is kind of an example of that love that kind of sneaks up on you. Like, oh my goodness. Like, oh, I've never thought of that person before. I've never looked at that person in that way before. But I think with Florence and Ned spending so much time together in the Mercantile, some of what we didn't get to see is there were some scenes cut, for everybody, and through nobody's fault. Like those first few episodes were really long.
Yeah.
There were some really great scenes between Florence and Ned where we got to see that spark. We got to sort of see that realization begin for them. We even got to see them flirt a little bit, so some of those scenes, I hope that they show up somewhere. I hope that one day there'll be like a deleted scenes thing, because there were some really great scenes that didn't actually make it onto TV. But yes.
Are you able to share, since the season's over, are you able to share any of those deleted scenes, like what happened in them? Or
yes, I think that what we got to see for Florence is we sort of got to actually see in real time her realization that she was starting to look at Ned in a different way. And there was a scene where she wanted to buy a beehive for him, for his
right,
which got cut. And that was really like a fun scene where she was going to Molly and saying, oh, what do you think? I want to get Ned something for his birthday. Should I get him this? And Molly is kind of going, since when do you buy Ned Yost a birthday present? and Florence is sort of like caught in this moment of, oh, she's sort of having this realization like, well, I thought it would be the nice thing to do. But it starts to plant that seed of, oh, Ned. I do think about Ned a lot, actually. And then there were scenes with Hrothgar, where we would leave the Mercantile at the end of the day and be laughing and being like, oh, the day went so quickly. And, we'd be talking about how much we had talked about, and how we had connected and laughed. And so there was just sort of things that were planted along the way. But, ultimately we got the message, right? We didn't need
in the end,
we got the message. So your question is, did I know? I knew. And the reason why I knew is because when John Tinker became involved with the show, he called all of us who had been on the show and said, hey, I've binged the show, love your character. What I want to know is there anything I'm missing in terms of where you've come from? And I really want to know where you want your character to go. What do you want to happen? And I said, well, thanks for asking. I really want Florence to fall in love again. I think it would be so endearing and lovely and hopeful to have a second chance at love. And I thought it would also be kind of funny to have the really controlling people be out of control with their emotions, And so he said to me, great. So like, who would Florence fall in love with? And I said, well, the obvious choice is Ned Yost, because they really play a very similar role within the town of Hope Valley. They're really kind of they're the ones that talk for everybody in Hope Valley. Now there's a great opportunity that Fiona doesn't work at the Mercantile anymore. They're spending a lot more time together. They've always had a very similar outlook on life. And I think very similar values in terms of what they're looking for in life and what they're looking for in their relationships. And so he went, great, done. We'll get you married by the end of the season. And then I kind of went, oh, what? Like I was thinking maybe they would take the step to like go on a date, but getting married? Oh my goodness. Okay, John Tinker. So I knew. I knew because I had potentially asked for it.
Okay.
I had asked, and listen, you don't often get an opportunity as an actor to talk about what it is that you would like to happen. You often don't get a say. And I think we're in a unique situation because John was coming into the show and it had been going for 7 years already. And I think he really wanted to collaborate. And that was an incredible gift. So it's not something that happens all of the time, and ultimately by the time we shoot, we get given the script and this is it. Stand where you need to stand and say the words. Like at that point, you don't get a say anymore, right? But he was really wonderful and very open. And so, I asked for it. And then he and all of the writers and the network came up with incredible stories to tell so that relationship would bloom.
Did you see that coming? That proposal?
No, I didn't. And I, at first when John had said, well, they're going to get married this season, and I was kind of going, well, hang on, like it can't be that easy. These two characters are not the kind of people that walk around with their heart on their sleeves. Like, they're actually very private. I don't know that they would move that fast, right? Like, I think it's got to be a slow burn. And John and his brilliance went, yeah, sure, yeah. And then he came up with the brilliant and necessary thing that would need to happen to get Florence and Ned together, and that is a near-death experience. A big life and death stakes situation that they both end up in together, and it both makes them realize their feelings in such a profound and powerful way. And they also have the maturity to, this is not their first rodeo for either of them, to say life is short. Say yes to love. If there's love in your heart, say yes. And so because of that story of us almost losing Ned, it forced these two very controlling characters who otherwise would not have been able to take a risk in such an easy way to be able to take that chance. So I think it was actually a wonderful story for those two characters.
Yeah.
Able to connect in that way and take a step.
Yeah. That, I will say, that scene in the infirmary where you are singing to, or Florence is singing to Ned. I mean, wow. My little heart was like, ooh, this is so sad and beautiful.
I think we were actually crying when we recapped that episode.
We might have been.
So weepy-eyed. This is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh.
But
it was, when I watched it, I got really emotional again, because like it just brings back, what I was thinking about during that time. And it was such a gift to have that scene, because it's so rare for a character like Florence to get a truly private moment, truly private, by herself. And, again, John and the writing team coming up with the choice for Florence to sing to Ned. I just thought, what a beautiful moment that she's at her absolute most heartbroken, because she's having to realize that her second chance, that she never thought she was going to have anyway, is going to be over before it's even truly begun. And that song was really about, just trying to breathe Ned back to life, right? And so when I saw the cut, I was in ADR when I saw it, and which is when you go in and you record dialogue that maybe a plane was flying over at the time or whatever. And they showed me that scene, and immediately my ego went, oh man, that's the take they chose. Because it wasn't the prettiest singing version of that song. I had some really beautiful like singing moments with it, which was such a gift. And God bless Peter DeLuise. He really worked with me. He directed that episode, and he let me change the words of the song, like to be able to fit in what it is that I wanted to fit in. And so he was really, because it was really important to me that Florence sing the line about "I'll be waiting for you." And that wasn't in the original script. And so he was super collaborative, between him and John and myself. We were able to really make that the right length, and to be able to express what it is that Florence wanted to express. And so, I thought it was a really beautiful moment. And I understand why that take ended up as the take. because it was her most heartbroken and most vulnerable, barely holding herself together moment.
Yeah.
And I think we needed to see that in order for the payoff of him waking up and being able to really get behind this couple, of seeing how real they are and how much they really mean to one another. So that was a real gift.
Yes.
Well, and going the complete opposite end of the scale, you know, we have the heartbreaking singing him back to life. Is he going to live? And then we go to Florence. Did I ask you to marry me?
Yeah.
That scene was golden. And I remember saying that how talented and gifted the two of you were, that you were grabbing our attention, and that you could say 2 words and we were leaning in, what's going to happen. And of course we knew that they were going to end up together, but we were like, is he going to take it back? Is he going to take it back? So
in that moment, yeah, I know. Yes, it was a little bit of a you know, your life just really hanging in the balance there.
and you were grabbing us with 2 words. You did. I did. I'm just like, oh my goodness, she's amazing that she can hold us like that with 2 words.
Thank you, but it's not just me, right?
I
You
know.
it's Rothgar, it's Peter, you know, and his wonderful direction. It's all of the crew, it's the cinematography, like it's all of it, right? But I'm so glad that you got so much from those moments, you know, because we certainly put a lot of thought into them.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's talk a little bit about some comedic moments. I know Kami was very excited about one particular scene that made us just crack up.
The dresses. The dresses when Molly and Rosemary are alternating and you can see it in the mirrors. That was comedic and cinematographic gold. It was such a beautiful moment. And I said to Kaycee, we have to talk to her about the dresses.
I know, so funny, right? Well, first of all, Siobhan Devine, who is a friend from a decade ago. I used to babysit her children.
Oh, wow.
So it was such an incredible full circle moment for me to have her come onto the show and direct those episodes. I was like, I couldn't feel like I'm in, you know, better company, Siobhan. Like, this is such a full circle moment. And this is like a really important story for Florence. So I was so grateful and thrilled that she was there. And then Michael Balfrey, who is our wonderful director of photography, yeah, they were all setting up those shots together, you know, and our camera operators and everybody was making it happen. And so, yeah, it turned out to be a really fun scene, and there was so much in it, you know, from all angles, which was great.
I loved it. It. And I thought that it was very insightful of Florence, because I don't see her being necessarily insightful. I see her as being very self-knowing, especially now that she's gone through so much. But I thought it was especially insightful of her to know herself so well that she knew that she was trying to match her first wedding dress. And that's why she was having so much trouble deciding what dress to wear. And, you know, of course, it ended with the perfect choice, and we'll get back to that. But it's so beautiful the way it happened.
And I think, you know, like, I think a part of that scene is actually really connected to the scene in the barbershop in episode 10, where she finally says, this is what's going on with me. And she's been trying to figure out why she's being so difficult. She can't quite decide why. Why can't I make a decision? And the truth is that she is actually on a personal journey to really love herself and to really have compassion and joy for herself and to let her own light shine. But she's struggling with figuring out how to do that. And it doesn't seem to be, she can't seem to be satisfied with what's happening in front of her.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of the beginning of that personal realization that doesn't really come for her until the next episode, where she says, this is what's going on. This is how I feel inside. I'm really being so tough on myself. And I think I want to be brave enough to look at myself differently. I want to let my light shine. I want to allow myself to step into my beauty as a woman. And it's got nothing to do with the approval of anybody else. It's actually to do with having compassion and approval and joy of myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So beautiful.
You're gonna start crying? Don't cry.
I'm okay.
Oh,
Well, it's so relatable, right?
yeah.
So
Well, yeah,
relatable.
and especially not only is it relatable, but now it's got me thinking about that beautiful scene between Florence and Molly. It just
Yeah, it's all connected. And so
Mhm.
you know, again, John was super collaborative, you know, with ideas and all kinds of things. And he just kept saying to me, I want you to be happy. I really want you to be happy. This is such an important story for Florence. I want you to be happy. And yeah, so I was able to really collaborate. But I mean, that scene between Florence and Molly, not a period or question mark or syllable needed to be changed from the first draft. It was so beautifully written and so beautifully encapsulated. I think Florence really paying tribute to Molly. And on a personal note, that scene, and I have said it in previous interviews, that scene is actually the reason why I was attracted to When Calls the Heart. Because I wanted to do a show that was really about the true bond and celebration and meaning of female friendships.
Yes.
And that sisterhood is so deeply important. And I really believe that our friends are our chosen family. And so, yeah. When Calls the Heart came to me, I was like, oh, I think this may be the one, because it's about all of these women who have to bond together, to help each other, to heal, to pull their lives back together, to raise their children, to be there for one another. And I thought, woo, that's friendship.
Yeah.
You know, so doing that scene was really, I feel like I did what I wanted to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, and to share it with Johanna, who's a real life friend,
Right.
so great.
Yeah.
And our first take, we were a mess. We couldn't get through it. We were just like, we couldn't even get the words out.
It's kind of like on Friends when Rachel and Monica are saying goodbye before she leaves to Paris, and they're like, "Oh,
It's exactly what it was. Inside, as I was doing it, I was also laughing at myself, because I was like, they're never going to be able to use this, right? Because, and Joanna and I were both just like, you know, like just kept spilling out, and then Siobhan calls, cut. You can't cry like that. We're like, we know. Okay, we're gonna pull it together. We're gonna be graceful. But it was all I could do to just not sob. Really.
Yeah.
The writing of that scene was just epically beautiful and just encapsulated so much. You know, and so to have the chance to say it, you know, on TV, man, I'm really proud of that.
Yeah.
Well, and just to have two of you who have been there since the pilot. It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's a lot.
It is. It is.
Got a lot of feelings about it, but you know, like that's also a love story of sorts, isn't it,
Mhm.
between Florence and Molly, because they really just have such a deep understanding of the pain that each other has been through.
Mhm.
And they're also like BFFs. They're also there for each other no matter what. They also like can have a good time together. There's a real bond there. And so it was really, man, I was so grateful to be able to express those ideas and to also have that storyline for those two characters.
Yeah.
Like, man, that feels really good.
Yeah. And Florence and Molly just know each other so well because I mean, both of them got each other the other person a dress for the wedding. And I mean, this just really touched me. I mean, the fact that Molly spent a ridiculous amount of money on this dress to impress Bill, and it was like for her and for him and whatever. And then she was like, giving this to you. And it's like,
because I know my friend. That's all she said was, I know my friend.
Wow.
I think that, one of the things that all of us as human beings want here in our lives is to be known. Right? We want to be known. We want people to really know our hearts. We want people to know and recognize, our heart and soul and goodness. And I think that Florence and Molly know each other.
Yeah.
There's such beauty and such comfort and such joy in that. And so I'm just so excited to see like where they go next. And I'm hopeful, and I don't know anything about season 9, so I have no inside scoop at all. But I am,
oh darn.
But I am hopeful that that Florence continues to return the favor for
yes,
because that was such an incredible selfless gift, and she knew that dress would have to be altered, that it wouldn't be her dress anymore, that it wasn't just alone. And wow, what a generous thing to do. So they're the real deal.
They are.
Sure are.
I feel like we need a shirt, something like something about best friends in Flomo or something.
We need some kind of a t-shirt.
BFF goals, right?
Yeah.
There you go.
I think I hear a lot. #friendship goals.
Yeah.
Florence and Molly, right? Yeah.
And then they can slip right back into town gossip mode and talk about how Fiona and Mike, I don't know.
Listen, they are who they are. I mean, we're complicated, right?
Yeah.
We're complicated. People are complicated.
Yes.
And also, in that moment, I think that Florence and Molly are representing the town.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What's going on over there? Interesting. Oh, I don't know about that. Well, one to watch. It's just a very short thing of like people are noticing, paying attention. Right?
Yes.
So but they are who they are.
Yes.
They like to talk.
Yeah.
They like to talk.
They sure do.
And they've had to learn their lessons along the way, and I'm sure that they will continue to do so.
Yes, absolutely. So another fun little thing that got Kami and I all like, whoa, is the first kiss.
Oh my goodness.
The barbershop.
We probably got 5 times as giddy because we were watching it together. so it made it even more of an elevated level, but we would have been giddy no matter what, because that scene was giggle worthy.
Yes, we were very emotional in this episode. I mean, we were like laughing and crying and giddy and yelling and happy. Like all the things. My poor husband was across the house giving my girls, helping them take baths and whatnot. He's like, yes, I can hear you through 2 doors
Across the house.
across the house. Because we just, yes, we were very loud. But that scene, I didn't see that coming. I didn't realize that the kiss was going to be there and how perfect it was for those 2 characters to have such an intimate moment. And the fact that Florence was, we talked a little bit about her insecurity, a little bit about her looks and whatnot. And, she had her hair up in a towel and everything. So it wasn't like she was, I'm sure she didn't imagine her first kiss with Yost in the barbershop with her hair in a towel and like taken aback. But how perfect for them to have that intimate moment.
So funny, right?
And that too.
It was
wearing a towel on her head. But I also loved it because I was like, that's marriage.
Yes.
Like, guess what? It's not going to be like sequined fabulous gowns and hair and fake eyelashes and like gorgeousness. Like, it's not going to be like that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm going to be, with a face mask on, like, in my robe, like whatever. It's going to be like no makeup. So I kind of loved it for that reason, because it was like, well, take me as I am. But it's a great scene. It was a great scene. And it was a great scene. And there was evolution to that scene. Originally, I think Yost came in and she was already going to be, Florence was already going to be done.
Oh.
But then it started to turn into something that was not really what I think that scene was meant to be about. Which was him coming to her and being honest and saying, I'm freaking out. I'm freaking out about getting married. I have cold feet. And her response being so wise and so loving, and really her vow, to him saying, okay, well, I'm going to take you as you are. And that's not a deal breaker for me. If you don't want to get married today, okay, I'm still going to love you. I'm still going to always love and support you and see the good in you. And that's exactly what he needed.
Yeah.
He needed to just be told, okay, I accept you. And you can struggle and okay, and I'll be here for you. And that's marriage, right?
Yeah.
And so them being able to have that talk, helped him so much overcome what his fears were. And I think and I kind of love the scene, because I had said to John, like once everything sort of started to happen with Flo and Yo, I said, listen, like we got to figure out what their first kiss is going to be, because I think it's probably going to be a thing, right?
Yeah.
We had an opportunity, like at the end of episode 7, when he wakes up from the coma.
That's when I thought it was going to be.
That could be the moment where they seal the deal with a kiss. It didn't quite feel like the right moment. But John was like, that's okay, leave it with me. It's going to be a thing for sure. And so I think that, that scene in the barbershop, it was kind of great in a way, because Ned needed emotional reassurance. And then I think Florence wanted some physical reassurance.
Yes.
And also they're very private people.
Yes.
That
kind of been on her mind too, like, oh my, like it's the first time I'm ever gonna kiss my husband, like after we're married, in front of everybody. That feels so intimate and so private. And so it was kind of the perfect moment, for that to happen. And so, it's funny. It was cute, and then Ned is in a daze, like,
Yes.
Use the other door.
Yeah, sure. Moving on. You know, just love coming out of his eyes. You know, love hearts surrounding his head.
Yes.
So it was cute.
It was
cute. It was very cute and perfect for their dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and what I loved about it was I think it showed just how far Florence had come. Because if you think back to season 1, Florence, if she had been getting remarried at that time, which of course would have been too soon, but just, go with the theoretical for a second, I think, you're not supposed to see me until the ceremony. I think that would have been something that she would have stuck with. Like, go, shoot, out. And this time it was all about him.
Mm-hmm.
And it just shows just how far she has come in her care for others. And then, in addition to that full cloud 9 high, we got the giggly, blushing schoolgirl complete with kicking feet, which was just, I mean, like I said, we were giggling so hard at that.
Yeah. She's come a long way.
She really has.
Florence has evolved. She has grown, and she's always going to be kind of that practical, say it how it is,
sure,
person, because that's sort of who she is. But she's had a lot of development, and yes, and she's developed a lot of softening over the seasons. And this year, not only softening and opening herself to love, for Ned, but also like we talked about previously, her softening and having more compassion and love for herself.
Yeah.
And man, I really like that. I don't know that everybody got that, because sometimes I get people tweeting at me being like, why is she calling herself an ugly duckling? She's beautiful. And it's like, you're kind of missing the point.
Mm-hmm.
The point is that she's saying, I never thought I was going to find love again. I shelved the idea of ever finding romantic love again. And I never wanted to walk around in my life looking for that. That wasn't something that I was putting out there.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that that's okay. I'm going to be of service to other people, and I'm going to raise my kids, and I'm going to do what I can do to help the community of Hope Valley. But what this brought into focus for her was, sometimes I'm really, really hard on myself. And I recognize that. And I actually don't want to do that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give myself compassion, and I want to give myself love, and I want to give myself permission to really shine, even if it's just for today.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm totally excited to see what happens for her next from that new place.
Yeah.
It's a whole new world for Florence.
Mm-hmm.
She's completed this really important arc. And so doing a season 9 is very exciting to see what she's going to discover next, where she's going to go next. So I'm very curious about that.
Yeah. Yeah. As are we.
We are. I picture a mansion on a hill, thanks to the invention of an adhesive bandage.
I don't know. I mean, maybe the Yosts are going to be rich. Right? That would change everything.
Yeah. Move over Coulters and Lucas and Goin. The Yosts are in town.
The Yosts now run the place.
Quiet achievers over at the Mercantile that got all the dough. That would be an interesting dynamic. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I hope that if that were the case, that the Yosts would use their powers for good. I
hope so.
I hope that they would. I hope that they would use their money to to help Hope Valley,
Mm-hmm.
to help the people in the community.
Yeah.
I don't see them being anything different.
No.
Especially now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it'll be fun to see how their dynamic, kind of plays out. And I'm sure there's going to be things they're going to learn about each other that they didn't know.
Yes.
It's like, you would think, okay, I have known you for a long time, but I didn't know that about you.
Mhm.
All right, okay. Loretta, confession time. Does Florence snore?
She probably doesn't know whether she snores. She's about to find out.
And she will probably deny it if it is brought up. Snore.
Probably.
Don't snore.
Me, a lady never snores.
She's got to, you know, she is who she is.
Yeah. You know, I see the Yosts as being, let's say they do hit it rich with the mansion and the whatever. I see them as being like that philanthropic person.
The quiet helpers.
Yeah, they're, you know, very philanthropic, helping other towns and helping other townspeople and just so giving. Because I mean, Yost is very much a giving person. I mean, we've seen multiple times throughout the seasons, him giving things from the mercantile, just donating, giving here, giving this for that reason. And so I can see that. I can see them being like this quiet couple, secretly, you know, just being the givers.
Yeah,
I think that's who they are.
So cool. I think it would be really cool to, you know, like things just magically get fixed because, you know, the fairy god couple, you know, Flo and Yo come in and just take care of it. You know, that would kind of be great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
Or does the patent get stolen and they have to deal with that? You know, I mean, the possibilities are endless.
There's so many possibilities.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be exciting to see, you know, where everybody's story goes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so thrilling, and I have so much gratitude to have been on a show for what will be 9 years. You know, that's so incredible and so unheard of. You know, I mean, there's certainly shows, you know, that have gone for a really long time, but man,
not many.
So much to be thankful for. Hey, I'm
yeah. Yes. So we've kind of danced around the topic of the wedding, but beautiful wedding for Florence and Ned. And you had mentioned to us in the past that sometimes you and Rothgar would have these like tiny little backstories going on. Did you have any backstories related to the wedding or any fun behind the scenes that you can share in relation to the wedding?
It's so weird, right? Because, you know, like I would see Rothgar when we were shooting that block, and it was like we just constantly talk about each other, but we're actually very rarely in the same room with one another.
That's true.
Like he was having deep and meaningful conversations with Elizabeth, with Goin, like even Molly was in there, you know, but not with Florence until he showed up in the barbershop.
Yes.
So there was a lot of talking about one another, but not actually dealing with each other. So it was kind of, we were kind of going, this is so weird. We're getting married, but we never see each other.
That's true, but you know, it didn't really feel like that. And when we were watching the season, I was just so hard eye emojied at Flo-Yo the entire time. That's interesting you mentioned that.
Sweet. That's very sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, you were our favorites the entire season. We're like, oh, we love Flo-Yo. We can talk about them all day.
No, it's, you know, it was so fun. We had such a good time. Really, you know, building that story and working together. Rothgar and I don't think we really had any like behind the scenes stuff, because Ned and Florence were both on such a personal journey.
Yeah.
Throughout that episode, you know, he was really dealing with cold feet and his daughter.
Yeah.
And sort of figuring out what's going on and what's the thing that's preventing me from taking this risk, you know, that Goin helps him with, and then Elizabeth also helps him with. And then Florence was on her own thing where she was trying to figure out what is going on with me. What is going on? Like, I'm trying to figure out why I'm being so difficult and why I'm resisting stepping into this role of being the bride. And I think that it was bringing up a lot of stuff. about her first marriage and losing her first husband, and then having the realization of, oh, this is, I'm being forced to make a decision about how I see myself, and I'm being put in the hot seat to actually name that. And we get to see her figure it out in real time.
Yeah, it's true.
She sits in that barber chair and goes, I don't know, like, I talked to Molly, I'm trying to figure out, am I doing it for Ned? No, hang on a second, I'm so hard on myself. I'm doing this, I'm doing it for myself. That's what's going on with me. That's what's going on. So I think because there was such personal journeys going on, we didn't have too much little improvs. But I will tell you, Rothgar, they take a long time to shoot these scenes, right?
Yes. Right.
So we shot the reception on one of the days and the wedding on the other day. And the reception day, like, it gets long because there's
I bet
coverage. And so by the end, that scene between Fiona and Hickam where they're dancing and they're talking about business, Rothgar was so giddy at that point. We were just laughing our heads off, like, for real, because we were kind of overtired. It had been a long day, and he's so funny. He just sort of goes to this really like, like childlike play place, which is so fun, right? Because I'll either do that or I'll get really cranky. But I got really like giddy too, so just laughing our heads off. But also, one of the other things that happened behind the scene during that wedding episode is on our lunch break, my dress got caught in the door of the transport van, and Johanna was with me, and I went to get out of the van and was like, oh my god, my dress is stuck, like it was stuck in the door. And I mean, like, this is a gorgeous, like, hand beaded, extravagant, beautiful dress. And we hadn't finished filming. Like, we couldn't wreck it. There wasn't a second one.
No.
So Johanna, she really came to the rescue. She was like, stop the car, don't close the door. And then it was really like a bride and her, like, best friend solving a wedding day fiasco.
Oh my god.
So, and Johanna really saved the day on that. Like, she figured out, okay, move the door this way. Okay, good. Okay, I can unhook it, and fix that whole situation, which was kind of scary there for a minute.
Yeah. Super Joe.
Yeah. She was like real life BFF.
Yeah.
Helping her bride friend out. Yeah, that was a scary moment. I did not want to rip that dress and then tell Barbara. Like, that would have been so bad.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Rescue.
Yeah.
Did Rothgar see you in the dress before the wedding? Or did he wait until you started filming to see you in the dress?
I don't think that he did. I think that the first time I wore that dress was actually for the wedding scene.
Oh, that's so fun.
Oh.
So I mean, he saw me in the green room, where we're all hanging out.
Okay.
But that was the first day. And then at the end of that day, we shot the scene in the dress shop with Molly. That was actually, we shot that the day of the wedding. And the last scene of the day. And so, because everything gets filmed out of order.
Right.
So that was a fun day. I always love it when everybody's there because, sometimes you'll go for weeks at a time without seeing people because you're not in the same scenes together.
Right.
So whenever there's a wedding or a big event, you get to all hang out. And so it's so nice. I genuinely really like the people on this show, and we genuinely have friendship. And so it's really fun to hang out.
Yeah.
And be together.
Yeah. Is there a specific character that you would like for Florence to hang out with a little more in season 9, or maybe somebody she doesn't really have scenes with?
Yeah, something that I'm there's a lot of people actually on this show that I feel like, I've never really had a chance to work with you too much. And so, we put in our requests, but, we'll see what happens. But, someone who I really love working with is Martin Cummins. And I really enjoyed, kind of the Florence Goin truce that sort of happened this season.
Mm-hmm.
I loved that.
He was really vulnerable, and she really had to let go of some of her judgment of him and her previous history with him. And so that was really nice. And I liked, in episode 11 when he comes into the mercantile, and he's the only one in Hope Valley who calls her Flo.
Mm-hmm. Yes! I noticed that.
We both said, "Oh my gosh, he called her Flo."
Yeah, I was kind of like, wait, what?
Yeah, there's a real intimacy to that. Like,
Yeah,
she lets him, and so I'm sort of really interested to see, that if they have an unlikely friendship of some kind, I'm quite interested in that dynamic, and I just think that Martin is such a fantastic actor.
Yeah.
I really dig spending time with him, and I really dig working with him. So, who knows, right? We now know that Goin and Yost are also good friends. So maybe we'll have him over for Thanksgiving or something,
Ooh.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he's left town right now, so
That's true.
who knows? So many question marks.
So many question marks.
So many things to find out what's going to happen next.
Yes.
Well, I would like to see more scenes with you and your son. We finally met your son.
I love that guy. He's so adorable. It sounds so condescending to say that.
That's okay. We won't tell.
He is such a darling. He's a good actor and so conscientious and so sweet, so generous and kind. And I really believed that he was Florence's son because he was so well behaved. Right?
Yeah.
You just tell that she'd be like,
yeah.
Don't take the candy. Don't take the candy.
like, Florence, there's many facets to her personality, but we do know that she's pretty practical and she can be very uncompromising about things.
Oh yeah.
So I imagine she was a bit of a tough mom.
Yeah.
Probably.
So, could maybe be a bit of a tough love.
Yes. Yes.
So I would love that. Man, I would love to learn more about their dynamic. I'd love to see Florence parent and see how she does that and how she struggles with that.
Because we haven't really seen much of that.
No, we haven't. We haven't really seen her, certainly not with her kids, and we haven't even really heard her talk about her kids.
Not much.
In many, many seasons, right? So I'm a mom myself, being a mother is such a big part of my life personally, and so it would be really great to explore some more of that on camera too. Yeah. I know. We'll see what happens.
Yes, it would be fun to see Deborah. I mean, we discovered that the daughter's name is Deborah. Like when that happened, I was like, "Whoa, okay."
Oh wait, there's a daughter in the mix.
Got 2 kids. She talks about it in episode 1. In episode 2 of season 1.
Yes.
Right? The first thing she says is, "Both of my children were born in this town, and I don't want to break their hearts, but the company's given me no choice." So we know she's got kids. You know, we hear her mention them when she's taking care of Carla Noonan's little one.
Right.
I got 3 kids at home now. I'm okay to take care of Ephraim, but Miss Thatcher, you got to stop giving so much homework because we don't have time.
And when the watch was stolen, and she was telling Jack in the middle of the night with my little one sleeping nearby, but that that was the only mention there. So.
Yeah.
Right? So vulnerable. And then every now and again, I'd help you, but I got to take my youngest to the doctors in Boston or wherever, right? So it's a whole new world for Florence. It really is. It's like I'm very excited by the possibility because we got to just discover so much more information about her.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it'll be the first like kind of like the first blended family in Hope Valley too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that brings a whole new dynamic. I mean, how will Deborah react to having an older sister? Because obviously I'm an oldest child. It's just me and my brother. I feel like if I had an older sister come into the picture, I'd be like, whoa, there's a rank here, And I feel like that could be great storytelling too. Just the Blakely Yost family and just navigating those waters. So
absolutely, I think there's so much potential.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also a lot of characters on this show, so there's a lot of ground to cover.
Mm-hmm.
And the writers do such an incredible job. So I'm very I'm so curious. I really want to know what's going to happen, but I don't know anything yet. So
it's so fun to see one of the actors involved being so curious, because we always see the viewers being curious. But
I want to know, like, what's going to happen here?
Yes.
What's going on with these ones, and how is that going to work out? And is this person coming back? And I'm super, I guess I am Florence. Oh my gosh. It happened. I'm turned into Florence.
Oh dear. Well, you
said
said it yourself. It's been almost 9 years. So
I know that's always the question. I'm like, was I always her, or have I turned into her?
Right. Oh my. Well, Loretta, thank you so much for coming on and talking about the When Calls the Heart season 8 Flomo relationships
and the wedding of the season.
Yes. Before we wrap, we have 3 quick fun questions for you, because you've answered our Rosemary rapid fire the first time we met.
Okay.
This time is a little more casual, and we just want to hear a little bit about what you're up to these days. So the 3 questions are: what are you reading currently? What are you watching? And is there something fun that you're doing this summer?
Oh, okay, great. Okay, what am I reading? I'm reading this book right now. It's fiction called Anxious People. It's so good. It's so good. It's by a Scandinavian writer. And this book is funny, and it's also real, and it's also kind of a mystery. So that's what I'm reading right now. But, I love to read, so I'm always reading. My big recommendation of a book right now is Untamed by Glennon Doyle.
I've heard of that.
That book is for every woman. Please read that book. It's such a great book. What am I watching? I'm flitting around right now because I was watching Killing Eve with Sandra Oh.
Okay.
Jodie Comer. Oh my goodness. I mean, it's very compelling TV. And then I took a break, and then I was watching Flight Attendant with Kaylee Cuomo. And so now I'm taking a break from that because it also got a little bit intense. So I'm not sure what I'm going to watch next.
Okay.
But I'm exploring lots of different things. I feel like we have like every platform now. I said to my husband, like, we have like every streaming service. We could really never leave our homes. Like, this is a lot of content. And this summer, what am I doing this summer? Well, I'm not going anywhere. Because we're still sort of living in weird times.
Yeah.
But what we have made a commitment to do is to really celebrate the summer.
Yeah.
Here in Vancouver. So we're going to be having like family members over that we haven't seen in a long time.
Oh, good.
Birthday coming. So we're going to have an outdoor family barbecue. It's my birthday in the summer. So
yes.
That. And I'm going to get to start shooting When Calls the Heart later in July. So that's pretty and fun for me.
Well, sounds great. I hope you enjoy time with your family and all of that good stuff. And yes, let's celebrate the summer and enjoy the time we have.
Totally. Things are getting better. Things are hopeful. And there's so much to celebrate right now. I'm like, I will never take anything for granted. You know, having a birthday party for my child, I will never take that for granted. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
You know, I'll never take not being able to see people for granted. So I think the theme of the summer is celebration.
Yes.
Let's celebrate each other, you know?
Perfect.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much. We will see you back on our screen sometime.
On our screen.
So,
Goodness, so exciting. Thank you so much. It was so fun to see you both again. And thank you for the wonderful support. Honestly, like really you're doing something positive and good for the world. In supporting this community and by arranging these interviews. And so I hope that you know that you are appreciated, and thank you for what you're putting out there, because it's good, right?
yes, absolutely.
That's the second time you've made me cry in this interview.
we aim to share positivity among.
We aim to please.
Yes.
Yeah, you're doing good stuff. So thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, Hearties. Well, that's a wrap on today's edition of the Hearties Hotline, and we'll be back. I don't know. Maybe we will be doing another something. Maybe.
We've got a lot of things in mind.
Maybe
we'll see what happens.
Maybe a little recap of You Had Me at Aloha. All right. Bye,